It's fair to say that most ordinary common experiences that citizens have with the criminal justice system or the court system in any way is pretty limited. I mean, some people will go to court to fight a traffic ticket, so they have the experience of sitting in a big room while your case is called. But you do, even if you sit in a traffic case, you do have the idea that a little bit of an idea of how the sausage is made. But most people don't in the criminal case, even though it has been said that 1 out of 3 people have some kind of criminal charge on their record. And remember, a criminal charge is, might be something as little as stealing from a grocery store or something, although they've stopped prosecuting a lot of those cases until they have, record thefts there by the same individual or individuals. But it can be relatively small and it can be a misdemeanor if you are showing up late to court and you are a key witness or you are a key defendant and you simply don't show up and you go to jail for 14 days. Maybe it's a DUI charge or something. That's a criminal charge. That's not a civil charge where you were evicted from your apartment, for example, and you didn't pay the last few months' rent. That would be a civil charge, okay? And a lot of times people don't know the difference, believe it or not. But when you go to court with this limited knowledge, people are very surprised at what they see. And let me back up for just a minute. What is really appalling is the number of people out there who will sit back and will say, well, I've never been accused of anything. I've never been convicted of a crime. And they sit up on their, lofty cloud 9 looking down on the rest of us. And they don't understand how easy it is actually to be convicted of a crime. And I would go so far as to say those who haven't been convicted of anything or accused of anything haven't actually done anything. I'm thinking of one particular friend of mine in Miami who never really got around to doing very much, but he's very critical of a lot of other people. And when you get into the court system and you watch how the rules of evidence are put before you, how the rules of procedure, and every courtroom has local rules, by the way, and the rules are different at the circuit court at the top versus the district court below it, and the juvenile domestic and relations court, which is also a district court. But those last two, the JDRC, juvenile domestic relations court, called family court elsewhere, and the district courts in Virginia at least and elsewhere, I believe, are called not courts of record, which means that if you want a record, you have to hire a transcriptionist, a court reporter who will type out everything said, and then you pay big money for that. You pay for the person's time. You also pay sometimes per page, and there are hundreds and thousands of pages. That's just a little taste, just a tiny little sliver of what it's like to go into court. Then you get into the maneuverings. You get into what I might call, perhaps unfairly, the backroom dealings, but they're really done in a back room or a side room where the prosecuting attorney gets together with your defense attorney, and the prosecutor says, look, if he or she pleads guilty to XYZ, we'll do this. An alternative is we'll do this if they will do that. If they don't, and then the threat is implied as well. In sex cases, it's a very easy thing. I've described it as police have described it like shooting fish in a barrel, whereby you say, look, either you agree to 10 years in prison or 2 years in prison or whatever it might be, and so many years on probation, and 10, 15, 20 years on the sex offender registry, or we're going to count every individual chat as one, and we're going to have you up on 106 years of charges, and you, of course, will not do 106 years, but you might do 50. So you better plead, and they scare the hell out of people. And by the way, did they have chats with minors? No. But even if they did have a chat with a decoy minor, you have to ask, there was no real victim. Nobody was touched. Nobody was injured. And their argument is, well, the public was injured in some way. All right. Any more than the politicians injure you? Any more than the graft and the greed of greedy businessmen, the hedge fund managers, and the billionaire and millionaire class? No, not really. But you get an idea again how the sausage is made. And if you have a judge who's a former prosecutor who was used to hammering people violently, viciously, because he believed that people, capital crimes, certain things, sex crimes, DUI crimes, whatever crimes they may have, racketeering, extortion, whatever it is, they get to be a judge. Now they have power, and that goes along with their lovely prejudice. And with the power and the prejudice, they're then able to really affect a considerable bit of change out there. So again, for those of you who think that when you go into the court system, it's very easy, it's cut and dry, you must be guilty, and there's no shenanigans, there's no anything, it's very cut and dry, very clear, and you have so many rights as a defendant, so very many rights. Think again. Almost all the cards are with the prosecution, not with the defense. And for every card you get as a defense, you also tend to lose something. Okay? I can go on about the jury pool. I can go on about the rules of evidence. And I'm no expert. I'm no attorney again. I'm not an expert. But folks, a lot of what I am telling you has been informed by attorneys, both prosecutors as well as defense attorneys. I've had conversations with prosecutors before they knew anything about my case, and they were happy to tell me all sorts of backroom deals until I told them who I was. And then, of course, very quickly, or they retaliated against me. So don't think that this is a pure system of wonderful public servants who are always interested in doing the right thing. They want to win. Having said that, I'm not saying they're all corrupt. I'm just saying that they're people. And if you're going to believe that people on the outside, maybe behind closed doors or in what they think is a private setting, they might go over the line, commit a crime, then you also have to believe that these people with a lot of power and very little oversight could do the exact same thing.